Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome back to Big 12 Insiders. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Big 12, in my opinion, look, I know what the records say this year as far as, the conference, but I still think it's up there as right at the top. That we may not get as many teams into the NCAA tournament as the SEC or even the Big Ten. Having said that, I still believe that the Big 12 is right there with them. I saw somebody say that they didn't think that the Big 12 was as good. They thought it was overrated. And I'm like, come play in it and then come tell me if you think the Big 12 is overrated. So I just didn't believe that. I don't know. That's just me. Again, I could be biased. I know I am biased, but I haven't said all that. I just believe that the Big 12 is still one of the tops in the country. And having said all of that, we are today going to break down the best coaches in the Big 12. Going to go from bottom to the top on who I believe are the best coaches in the Big 12. Before we do all of that, again, as always, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in that comment section, people. I really do appreciate it. And always hit the notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. A little recap as far as last night. UCF, bad loss. Losing to Cincinnati. Good win for Cincinnati. I was on their head about them, making the turn, finally getting it together. It's a good win because UCF, I thought they were a good team. I keep saying that I think they're a good team, but now they've lost 5 or 6. And they lose a home game that I didn't think they could lose. Their chances of going to the NCAA tournament are starting to slip through their fingers. It's not a game you could lose. Like I said, good road win for Cincinnati because everything was pointing downward as far as their season. But UCF, that you can't lose that game at home and think you're going to make the tournament. It's going to be a really, really tough road moving forward. But again, I applaud Cincinnati. I've been trying to get you to turn this thing around, and you guys have been fighting me on it. Maybe this, I don't know. Maybe this win, 93-83 over UCF on the road, is something to get the season kickstarted. We'll see. TCU, West Virginia. West Virginia's in a bad way. I thought they had turned it around, but they haven't. TCU has been woefully inconsistent, but they won at home. And it's tough winning on the road. I get it in the Big 12. But, again, West Virginia, if you're the team that everybody thinks that you are, you got to win this game, man. You just have to be able to win this road game. I think you're a better program. I think you're not necessarily a better program, a better team than TCU. So to go on the road and lose this one, I mean, you're in the tournament. I don't think you have anything to worry about as far as that is concerned. But if you want to be taken seriously in the tournament, you would think that this is a game you could go win. Congratulations to TCU on getting a good home victory. And then Utah, I thought the only game left, you look at Colorado's schedule, man. I thought the only chance that they may have had to win a conference game this year was at Utah. Didn't happen. Utah said, "Come on, Big B, don't disrespect us like that." I apologize. And they get a big win at home. Utah, again, one of those programs, they're hanging around. I'm not sure they're going to make the tournament. Matter of fact, I'm pretty positive that they won't, as far as an at-large bid. But, again, still fighting, still competing at a little bit less than mid-tier level. Give them credit. Didn't let Colorado get their first win on their home court. Congratulations to them. Colorado still fighting, just not talented enough at this time. But moving on, we're going to talk about the best coaches within the Big 12. Some of it's going to be controversial. Some of it you're going to say, come on, Big B, recency bias. Big B, you don't know what you're talking about. I welcome all of it. Get in the comments section and tell me what you think. First off, you could say it's recency bias. Don't care. Think he's a lousy coach. And I know who you guys know that I'm going to say. Bobby Hurley, 16, Arizona State. Now, look, let me preface this. 3 tournaments in 10 years should be more than that at Arizona State. With that, fan base, alumni, and I say fan base, if you give them something to cheer about, they'll cheer. We saw it in football. The alumni base, where it is in proximity of the country, or how beautiful it is there, you should be able to win at Arizona State. But more than anything for me personally, it's the whining that Bobby Hurley does, just the constant complaining and then as players, of course, what are they going to do? They're going to take their cues from their coach. They've had 2 guys kicked out of basketball games in the last 2 games. I mean, what are we doing here? And you could say, well, maybe they're getting punished behind the scenes, but why are they doing it in the games anyway? And this last one, supposedly, now I don't know, supposedly somebody spit on somebody, which is about the lowest form of thing that you could do to a human being. And if that happened, again, I don't know if it did. That's the report, that he spit on someone. If that's the case, I mean, gee, many Christmas. Like I said, Bobby Hurley, you might think he's better than this. You might think that I'm just picking on him because I don't like him. I don't necessarily, first of all, I don't know him not to like him. So, I have no merit on whether I like him or not. I just don't like how he coaches. And so for me, he's last in the conference. Period. End of story. Moving on. 15, Craig Smith, Utah. Building something. Got to get it going. It's tough to get it going in the Big 12, but they're building something. They're probably another year away. Now, look, going from the Pac-12, which was a good basketball conference, to the Big 12, there's a difference. I know Pac-12 people are going to, oh, it's the Conference of Champions, and it was a long time ago. Not now. Not in basketball. Not now. And it's no more, so let's stop talking about it. But either way, Craig Smith, I like him. Building something there. Going to get it going. It's tough to get it going, like I mentioned in the Big 12, but they fight. They fight every game, and that's all you can ask. Number 14, Steve Lutz, Oklahoma State. Now, look, he made the jump basically in 3 years from Texas A&M Corpus Christi all the way to the Big 12. I mean, that's a huge jump no matter how long it takes, but in 3 years with another job in between. So he'll get it going. The one thing, like I said about Oklahoma State, they play very well at home, and they fight. So, and Oklahoma State is one of those programs where they just need some good things to start happening. It's a proud basketball program, proud tradition. They got to get it going and back in the right direction. They got crushed by some of the not allegations, but the NCAA sanctions and things. They got killed by that. They did. You could say it's their own doing, but the problem with that, and I mean, I could go on and on about that. Everybody was doing it. The NCAA was selective on who they wanted to crush with these findings. Everybody was doing it. Kansas, North Carolina, everybody was doing it. I mean, but yet you picked certain programs to attack. Oklahoma State, unfortunately, was one of those, and they're paying the price for that. So hopefully they can get it back turned around. Now, here's 13. There's going to be some people that are like, come on, Big B, what do you mean? Jamie Dixon. And the reason that I say this, look, Jamie Dixon had a ton of success at Pittsburgh, just an absolute ton. I was super surprised that he left that job to come to TCU. I understand he's coming home. I get that, to the school that he went. I get all of that. But I thought he was fine at Pittsburgh, but they were moving conferences, and maybe he's thought, you know what, I don't want to be in the ACC anymore because they had just moved there from the Big East. I would rather be in the Big 12 at alma mater at TCU. So I don't know. Maybe that's the allure of it. The one thing that I will say, and I know they went to 3 tournaments in a row, they should be better. And the reason that I say they should be better is because the recruiting and where you are, the proximity to recruits, you should be better at TCU. DFW area has got plenty of good basketball players that they can choose from. And granted, everybody in the country is choosing from them as well, but it's not like TCU, it doesn't have money. It's not like they don't have, this NIL or they shouldn't. I mean, they should be able to tap into some of that stuff. Either way, Jamie Dixon should be better. That's all I'm saying. And I know TCU was bad before he got there. I'm not trying to say that they weren't. All I'm saying is I think he would be better. A coach of his or supposed caliber should be better. That's why I have him this far down. You might think it's wrong because of what he did previously, but at TCU, not so much. Moving on. Johnny Dawkins, UCF. It's tough because they're starting to get the support. I mean, they're just realizing, the school, I should say, how important basketball is. They just got into the Big 12. There's probably a case to be made that Johnny Dawkins should be lower than this. I like what he's done. I think he's got an opportunity. Now, if we do this ranking next year and they don't make the tournament, I can 100% guarantee you that Johnny Dawkins will drop down on this list. They got to be able to make the tournament. They were in position. They were in. And if you let it slip away, then we're going to have a conversation on where Johnny Dawkins belongs in this rankings moving forward. But as of now, I got him at 12. Number 11. Now, this might surprise some people as well. Some people have this guy in the top 10. Personally, I do not. That is Wes Miller. And the reason that I say that, there's going to be a lot of UC fans that agree with me. Since he's been at Cincinnati, what's he done other than underachieve? This season included. I mean, he's underachieved. Period, point blank. Cincinnati is a great, not good, a great basketball traditional program. It just is. And it's fallen off the map. Now, you might say that, well, that's not his fault. Well, I think that it is. You know, Cincinnati wasn't some downtrodden program before he got there. That's not what this was. So, yeah, get it figured out. He's had the time. And the thing that drives me really insane about this is they should be very good this year, and they're not. Why is that? I mean, you could name a couple of different things maybe, but what I would say is they're not coached great. You know, they're not prepared all the time. It doesn't seem like guys aren't giving the effort. You're starting to hear some of that stuff coming out of the program. Well, if guys aren't giving maximum effort in practice and in games, that's coaching. That's just coaching. And you got the wrong people, on the team. Maybe you got the wrong staff. I don't know. But you put together the staff. That's why I have Wes Miller where he is. Doesn't mean that I don't think that he can turn it around. All I'm saying is sometimes I think he gets credit for doing more than what he has actually done at the University of Cincinnati. Like I mentioned, great tradition as far as a program. Great, not good, great. Got to get that thing turned around. Tad Boyle at number 10. There's going to be so many people that disagree. Here's the reason why. Does anybody even, when you think of Colorado basketball, number one, if you even think of Colorado basketball, the first name that comes to mind, in my opinion, would be him. You know, they've made 7 tournaments in 15 years, and I'm including the COVID year because they would have made the tournament if we would have had it. Good coach. Doesn't have a whole lot of talent. Now, here's another thing is part of coaching in college is getting the guys there. You know, that's part of it. Now, it's different now because NIL, but part of coaching is getting guys into your program. They should be better next year. We'll see. Bad year this year. If you disagree, you can. But as far as actual coaching, I like Tad Boyle. I really do. It's difficult at Colorado being the head basketball coach there. You look at the facilities and some of the support. It's not always there. Not up to snuff, in my opinion, on what a Big 12 program should be. I'll just leave it there. I'll leave it there. Number 9, I got Jerome Tang. Now, Jerome Tang, longtime assistant of Scott Drew, went to a Elite 8 in his first year, put together a team. Last year, underachieved for whatever reasons. I mean, guys getting kicked off the team, that whether he should or shouldn't, don't need to go down that road. But they underachieved last year. Put together another team this year. For the first 3 quarters of the season, it looked like they had underachieved too. Now they're starting to turn it around now, but we'll see. But I think this is a fair assessment of where Jerome Tang is because coming in, look, Kansas State, if you're a Kansas State fan and a longtime fan, you're going to say, Kansas State for forever was known as a basketball school. And that's true. The problem was that's so long ago that most people that are alive don't remember that. That's the thing. It's like Kansas State was so good, but I wasn't born. Like, I was born in 1975. Kansas State's heyday was before that, and they had good teams in the 60s and 70s. I'm not saying that, even good teams in the 80s, but really their heyday was before all of that. Okay, fine. But what I would say is that Kansas State's program hasn't been great. Bruce Weber had a couple of years, don't get me wrong, but they had to get rid of him because they turned awful again. Jerome Tang picking up the pieces, goes to an Elite Eight, underachieves. We'll see how this figures out. It could go up or down from here when we do this again. But I like Jerome Tang. Got to get better with the X's and O's, though. Got to get better with the X's and O's. Darren DeVries at West Virginia at number 8. I like it. Good hire. You talk about a program that needed a good hire after coming off the fiasco with Bob Huggins. Really good hire. I like what he did previously at Drake and then coming over. I think they're a real good program. I think West Virginia, again, injuries have kind of derailed this season. We'll see with his son. Look, I'm not saying his son was the best player in the world, but he was pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. And maybe would have challenged to be the best player on the team. Him being out for the year with a shoulder injury is problematic. But they're still fighting. But again, West Virginia, that's a good hire. It's a real good hire. You got a good coach. And again, could move up or down, depending on how they do. I don't know that he can move down. He might move up. We'll see what happens when we resurface and do this again. At number 6, Grant McCaslin. Very adaptable. He adapts to what's going on. And again, the reason that I have here, and he could go higher depending on how this season ends, but last year they underachieved in the tournament. They flat out did. Texas Tech was better than that. But the reason that I like them so much and the reason that I talk about them this year is because he's gotten transfers and he's gotten those guys to buy in to a philosophy of I was going to say something, but I won't. We crapped the bed last year in the NCAA tournament. Let's just call it that. We should have been better. We underperformed, and we know it. I need you to take that. Number one, that's why you're here, is because we needed to get some better players in here, but we're a better program than what we showed the country last year. He's gotten new people and people that were currently there to buy into that. The fan base and the support's always going to be there. But, I mean, that's just kind of what it is at Texas Tech. That they're going to be there. But that's why I like it. He's adaptable. He adapts. He can play different styles depending on his personnel, which is always the sign of a good coach. But he got these guys to believe. And, again, the season's not over. But he's got them to believe and buy into we need our respect. Nobody's giving it to us. We got to go earn this respect. We got to go take the respect, per se. Not even earn it. Just go take the respect. I like that kind of attitude, and they play that way. Number 6, Kevin Young. Now, a ton of people will say, how do you have a guy, first-year coach this high? Look, first of all, I'm not sure there's a better X's and O's coach in the United States of America at the college level, or any level for that matter. That's universal. That's not just me just throwing that out there. You talk to NBA guys, they will tell you, as far as X's and O's, not sure there's anybody better out there. That's number one. To be able to do what he's done, again, BYU wasn't some downtrodden program either. So I don't want you to think that, he came in and he's been this savior. They were a good program. They're just better now. They've been able to elevate it. He's going to be able to get, now it depends on how long he stays. Hopefully he stays a long time. But the ties that he has to the National Basketball Association, kids want to play for that. Top-rated kids want to play for that. You saw he got the best player in the country. Yeah, you can say NIL had a ton to do with that. Okay, well, NIL is everywhere. And maybe it's more at some places than others. I agree. But you could have the most money, but it's also going to be tied to this guy can get me to the next level, has worked with some of the best basketball players in the world, and they vouch for him. Why wouldn't I want to go play for that if I'm in college? If I'm a high school kid, I'm going to college. Why wouldn't I want to go play for a guy that Kevin Durant vouches for? Why wouldn't you do that? Devin Booker vouches for. You wouldn't want to go play for that. Oh, by the way, you can get paid a few bucks. Of course you would. That's why I have him so high on the list, because he is a really good basketball coach. Really good basketball coach. Tommy Lloyd coming in at number 5. Arizona fans, don't crush me. I just think this is where he currently is right now. Too many NCAA losses early. That's all I'll say. Too many. Arizona should have been in the Final Four by now. Now, don't get me wrong. The tournament is it's almost more luck than anything else, because matchups mean everything. Injury bug, a team getting hot one game can beat you, even when you're not playing at your worst. If a team just gets hot and beats you, it is what it is. But that's why first of all, 5 isn't a bad place to be. Can it go higher, especially after this season? But I want to see more postseason success. That's all. More postseason success. I think he's an incredible coach. Not a good one. An incredible basketball coach. But I want to see more postseason success. That's why I have him here. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, how do you have TJ Otzelberger at number 4 then? It was basically a flip of the coin, to be honest with you. I think these guys are both incredible. Postseason success, I just talked about that. Iowa State went out way earlier than what I thought they should have last year, but it's the tournament, man. It's the tournament. Now, it can't be a consistent thing, which is why at Arizona, they've had better teams than maybe Iowa State has had traditionally and been out earlier. That's the only reason. That's my flip of the coin right there. I just believe Arizona should have gone further more often. Let's just say that. Again, both incredible coaches, and wouldn't be surprised if both of them end up in the Final Four this year. Let's keep that in mind. Would not be surprised. At number 3, I have Scott Drew. Been at Baylor a long time. Here's the thing. For me, Scott Drew, what he did at Baylor, I could have put him 1. And the reason I say that, who goes and cleans up a mess and takes a job at a university where you're having to clean up from a coach that tried to cover up a murder between your players? Just think about that. That's what Scott Drew did. He cleaned up a program where a coach, the head coach, tried to cover up a murder within his basketball team. You couldn't play non-conference games for a year. I mean, there was so much going on at Baylor, and he brought it all the way back to where the program is now to get a national championship. They're dealing with some crazy injuries this year. Otherwise, in my personal opinion, I think they would be better. They can't get all their best guys on the court at the same time. Injury bug, it is what it is. That's part of sports. But Scott Drew is a really good basketball coach. Really good basketball coach. But more important, I think he's an even better man than he is a basketball coach. And I've met him. So this is not just me secondhand information. This is how old I am. Scott Drew recruited me back in 1994 to go play basketball with his brother Bryce Drew. We were both from Indiana, and I remember he called me, and he was fast talking me, and I'd already made my decision, but I remember just listening to him. I'm like, man, maybe I should just go to Valparaiso. I don't know. So, yeah, I like Scott Drew. Real good guy. Number 2, I have Kelvin Sampson. This will sound funny, but Kelvin Sampson for a lot of years got more with less. And when I say that is like Houston traditionally, since he's been there, hasn't had like all these NBA guys. They haven't had like 7 or 8 guys going to the NBA. They've had really good basketball players, but it's not loaded with like lottery picks or NBA. They just say, you know what, we're going to get these guys that want to play basketball, that are willing to be coached as hard as I can coach them, And in return, they are going to give me maximum effort. And now recently, he's been able to get some bigger name guys. He's been able to do that because, hey, the guy's a good coach. He's gonna maximize my ability. For a while, the whole thing was, well, if I don't want to be coached that hard and yada yada yada. I mean, it works at Houston. The guy coaches hard. He gets the best out of his players. They all respond. You don't hear people bad mouthing him or anything like that. It's just because he's an honest guy. I'm going to coach hard. And in turn, my kids are going to play hard, but he also is a really good basketball coach. It's one thing to coach hard and not be a good coach. Kelvin Sampson's a good coach, man. Highly respected around the industry, too. So, number 2. And then number 1, Bill Self. And I've been on Bill Self lately, talking about Badunga, not playing as many minutes as Adams. I've been on him, that his loyalty is getting in the way, and it may get him an early exit again in the NCAA tournament, and I firmly believe that. But Bill Self I don't think he's the best coach in the Big 12. I think he's the best coach in the country. That's how good he is. So there's still a lot of basketball left to be played. KU can turn this thing around. I mean, they're not a bad team anyway. That's number 1. It's not as good, but the thing about it with KU, they don't have the players that they usually have. Somebody argued with me about in the comments before, and again, I'm going back and forth with you, but said that KU had the talent. I'm like, KU has talent, but they don't have near the talent that they used to. Like, tell me the lottery pick that they got. They used to have 2 or 3 on the team at a time. Tell me the NBA guys that they have. Somebody before tried to tell me Hunter Dickinson. I was like, hold on a second. If Hunter Dickinson was the guy, he'd be in the NBA right now. Well, he makes a lot of money at KU. He can't make money in the NBA? Oh, well, he's taking a pay cut. Well, why is he taking the pay cut if he went to the NBA? Because he wouldn't be that high of a draft pick. That's why. So I'm just saying, KU doesn't have the same type of talent that they usually have. And it's starting to show up. They got to get back to it. Obviously, that's part of coaching in college is getting the guys there. In my opinion, 65% of it is getting the guys there. Because if you don't have the guys, it's tough to win. You can be the best X's and O guy you want, but if you can't get the guys, you're only going to be so good. Same thing, I think Bill Self, but Bill Self is that guy. He was able to get the guys and coach them up even more. I think he should be able to get this team turned around. So appreciate you guys again, as always, digging in here. Like I said, tell me where you disagree, where you agree. I'm sure we're not going to agree on a lot of these, but this is where I'm at right now. This is where I'm at. Solid list, in my opinion. Maybe not to you guys, but I do appreciate all of your opinions as long as they're respectful. Appreciate you guys, man. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.